And welcome to the 17th European Super Pool from the Ahoy Stadium in Rotterdam. Outside, the tractors are arriving. Inside, the track's almost ready. Our Alphonse son-in-law Randy explains what makes a good track.
Just making sure you have a good soil to work with and get the right amount of moisture in it. And like here, we're a little bit at a time. We're putting a little bit of water in it, mixing it in, and getting it just right, just like a good cake. You gotta take your time and build it right.
And Randy knows what he's talking about. He's a professional track builder in America. Today at Ahoy, we'll be seeing super stocks, two-wheelers, two monsters from America, as well as minis and modified. 6 classes in all, so a really packed program of pulling. Right, I think the time is right to go inside, where a full house of 15,000 fans are finding their seats and looking forward to an afternoon of action and excitement. Down below, the sledge is moving into place, and if you're not familiar with tractor pulling, the object is to pull this sledge as far down the track as possible. At the same time, a series of gears and pulleys moves a weight from the back of the sledge to the front, making it harder and harder to pull. The first class today is the 3.4-ton modified, and the first contestant in the arena is Viper, driven by 42-year-old Joop Welters. He comes from near Nijmegen in Holland. He's very experienced. He's been pulling now for 17 years. He makes bakery equipment for a living, so he'll be hoping to rise to the top in this class. Now, the tractors pull by friction on top of the surface, so they spin the wheels as fast as possible at the start to get a good forward speed, because when the weight gets to the front of the sledge, you go nowhere fast. And Viper's 2 Cryosers and 1 Keith Black engine have powered him to 55.6 meters. Now, this is Black Power from Denmark, the European 2.4 champion with 20-year-old Paul Jensen in the saddle. It's the first time he's driven here. With just 1 run to count, everything has to be okay. And he is about the same distance as Viper. You can't say he's not firing on all cylinders. No, half a meter shorter for Black Power. This is another Dutch contestant, Beverel Liga Beaver, Dutch 3.4 champion in 1990. Kees van der Poel is sitting behind 5 Chevys, 4 injection and 1 blower. Let's see how far they can blow him up the track. No, the 42-year-old tractor mechanic from Putten near Amersfoort will not be in the money this afternoon. He's just edged past the 50-meter mark. The track is 65 meters long, and full pulls will be few and far between. 52.83 for Beverel Liga Beaver. But if anyone can manage a full pull, it's Desperate Dan. He's the double European 3.4 and 4.4 champion from Great Britain. Oh, and it looks like the man behind the wheel, Brian Armistead, is determined to go all the way. Yes, it's the first full pull of the day to Desperate Dan. And if he hadn't shut off his 4 Chevys, he'd have been out in the car park with sledge and all. So full pull in a time of 10.3 seconds. There's an afternoon and an evening session here at Ahoy, and both have been sold out for weeks. And it's pulling like that they've come to see. Now from Holland, it's White Horse the 6th. And the unusual power source is an 18-cylinder Star motor from a Lockheed Neptune. 40-year-old Gerrit van der Hoover is in the saddle of White Horse. Let's see what the farmer from Udden can do. Oh, he's off course, and if he crosses the chalk line, he'll be over and out of the competition. Yes, he clipped the chalk, so last place to White Horse. Well, that was a disappointment, as the mic man Klaus Wiedik is explaining to the spectators. Big Danish hope in this class is the 4.4 Eurocup holder Fox, owned and run by 5 brothers from Skjern in Jutland. Peter Larsen is the chauffeur, peering out of the gloom, the smoke from fireworks before the opening taking a while to clear. Oh, and it looks like Fox is planning some fireworks of his own. Almost 2-wheeling it all the way down the arena. It's our second full pull. Desperate Dan has company in the pull-off, and the Danish fans are delighted. So full pull in 9.69 seconds. This is 28-year-old Wim Holzer-Bull from Lemmeneveld, hoping no doubt that his tractor Black Cat will bring him luck. He's got 6 Chevy 8350s, but they want to go up and not forward. So Black Cat will not be top cat today. Let's see his distance. 43.26 for Black Cat. Chalk Ice Peanuts? No, they're more interested in what's going on down on the track than what he's got in his box. And this is what has their attention. 2 Napier Gazelles. You'd normally see them in a Westland Wessex helicopter. And they helped 39-year-old Jan Bosman to become Puller of the Year in Holland and 3.4 Dutch champion in the B class. Screwing on the power. Very good start speed. Now, is this going to be our third full pull? No, Rising Star comes to a rest at about the 60-meter mark. But that's good enough to move them to a current third place, 60.02 meters for Jan Bosman. The track they pull on is a special clay soil about 40 centimeters deep, and when the meeting is over, it'll be loaded up onto lorries and stored until next year. And if you'd like some tulips from Amsterdam, then here's the man to talk to. Hans Kramer. He grows bulbs just north of Amsterdam, when of course he's not driving Seaside Affair. Oh, and 5 Ford engines that normally power big American cars are giving Hans a great ride. Oh yes, well over the 50-meter mark. Hans told me the tractor gets its name because he lives close to the seaside resort Egmond Binnen. Well, Seaside Affair moves into a current 4th place with that run, 56.21 meters. I can tell you there was panic in the parking lot outside when Synergy had problems with the steering, but they fixed it, and now Philippe Chauvin from France is about to start his run. Used to be known as Percival, but renamed this year. Well, there was a lot of noise from the turbines that normally power Super Freelon helicopters, but he never really got going, and Synergy has to settle for a disappointing 51.72 meters. Right, this is the final competitor in this class, Richard Holtz with Museum's Cat from Germany. Still only 2 in the pull-off, but Cat was 4th in the European Championships, and his 3 RS engines should be good enough to challenge the others. See what he can do. Certainly a good start. Midway correction. And Museum's Cat is over the 65-meter mark to make it a 3-way pull-off. So full pull to Museum's Cat, which is one of 2 mighty modifieds owned by Eugen Kiemüller from near Stuttgart. Great Britain, Denmark and Germany represented in the pull-off, and first to go, Desperate Dan and Brian Armistead. Brian comes from the north of England near the holiday resort of Blackpool, and first flagman Willem Tamming sends him on his way. He's dominated the European Championships for the past 2 years, almost unbeatable. Now, can he do it again today? You can almost feel him willing on his machine, and he digs in at about the 50-meter mark. A good pull that, but the door is still open to the other 2. Let's see the distance, 51.48 meters. And you can be certain that Richard Holtz will push Museum's Cat to the limit. He has a chance, a definite chance. And they're probably discussing who they think is going to win. Eugen Kiemüller not here today to see Richard run. He's no doubt working at his museum, which displays a mass of mechanized monsters, tractors, tanks and planes, amongst other things. Well, Museum's Cat's almost flying down the track. And this is going to be very close to call. Now, have the RS engines that power drag races in the States done enough to defeat Desperate Dan? No, 51.35. Museum Cat is just 13 centimeters short. So the Cat can't. Can the Fox do better? Peter Larsen had the fastest pull. There's 5 coachloads of Danish fans who'll go potty if he wins. Or a little off course, so he's had to check, and that slowed him a little. But he is also over the 50-meter mark. The Danes think he's done enough, but it's very difficult to tell. Now let's see the scoreboard. Keeping us waiting, 50.19, so Desperate Dan does it again. Museum's Cat takes second spot, and Fox has to settle for third. But there's the chance for revenge in the 4.4 ton class later today. So here's the official result. Good runs from Rising Star and Seaside Affair are rewarded with 4th and 5th places. Lower down the order, Viper was 6th, Black Power 7th, and Beverall Liga Beaver 8th. Right, now it's our first chance to see one of the American machines, and I asked Dusty Alphonse how she got involved in the sport.
Yeah, Dad was drag racing up until I was 8, then he got into tractor pulling. So I've got along with him and been his little helper, so finally I got a tractor of my own. Well, we needed something that went along with Dad's Green Monster, so Dragon Lady was the next best thing. She's supposed to be some slinky character from the Oriental lands.
Slinky character maybe, but she has a unique way of entertaining the crowd. Watch this. And after her footsie with the flame pedals, it's time to see what Dragon Lady is made of. Well, if I was St. George, I'd stay well clear of that dragon. Full pull to Dusty Alphonse and Dragon Lady. She's certainly one lovely lady in a hurry. And that has given the crowd plenty to talk about. Well, outside, the European 4.4 Superstock champion, Willem Veldhuizen, had lots to be pleased about. He chose the European Superpool to unveil his new livery and sponsor, and to tell us what his plans are for 1995.
For 1995 we are building a new motor like this, and it will be a overhead cam, dual spark plugs. It's capable of making 3,000 horsepower, and we will keep going for the 4.4 ton class, and maybe we'll win the 3.4 ton class.
Here at Ahoy, what are your hopes for today?
Oh, I hope it stays together and we make a nice show for the audience. You can't tell on an indoor track. An indoor track is shorter, so everything is going faster. You have to do it right.
And whatever sport you're in, if you're seeking a sponsor, the secret is to do your homework first.
Most of our customers are farmers, and Willem came to me with a good presentation of his successful team, being European champion last year. So I thought it might be interesting to have a good combination of a successful team and a successful product.
Well, that was Jaap Pastra, and it'll be interesting to see what Magcal bits and pieces can do in the next class for the 3.4 Superstocks. Now, these tractors use heavier fuels, so this modern art type of construction, which is bolted to the sledge, is connected to a big flexible hose, and the gases from the exhaust stacks are piped outside. The extraction unit makes a whining sound that you'll be able to hear, and we start with the competitor who has probably travelled the farthest to be here, Pekka Hurleby from Finland. This is Delta Power. Oh, what a way to start! Only just short of a full pull for Pekka's Valmet. Now let's follow the run again from our camera at the start. The flexible hose on rollers. Looks like a big black snake is attacking the sledge. There we go. And Delta Power's notched 62.45 meters, and that will be tough to beat. Let's see if Zappo can do it. Short and sweet, and Zappo is zapped at the 6.67 mark. And here's one cameraman who didn't bother to record that run for posterity. Now here's the European 3.4 Superstock champion, Niels Damgaard from Denmark with Blue Power. Niels not driven inside before, which is a distinct handicap. You normally gauge the tractor's performance from the sound of the engine. In Ahoy, there's so much noise you can't hear the engines, and Blue Power loses turbo pressure and can only make 29 meters. What a disappointment for the Dane. Next into the arena, 41-year-old Gradus van den Bos with the Deutz-Fahr Pink Panther. Ride Inspector Clouseau, is the Pink Panther going to strike again? Not on this run, and that didn't sound too healthy. With all the steam around, he could well have blown a gasket or something worse. His throttle handle's a bit limp as well. 54.8 meters for Pink Panther from Utrecht in Holland. Well, how about that? Greatest looks like Clouseau after all. She must be a dedicated fan. A broken leg's not going to stop her from going to the Super Pool. Now here's a real Dutch favourite, Hurricane. 3 times European champion with Eric Meyer. Oh, this is a wild one from Hurricane. 62.45 is the distance he has to beat, but a braking noise at the end cuts him short. He certainly didn't run out of steam, did he? 55.8 meters and into second place for Eric Meyer, who's definitely got problems. That's the trademark for the Hurricane fans, blue balloons. The crowd here waiting for the first full pull of this class, and there's just 3 to go. Pekka Hurlevy could be just the man to do it. Here's his second Valmet, the 1993 European champion, Caesar. Smoothly away and a lot of forward speed. He's already in the lead with Delta Power. Oh, and just a whisker away from a full pull. But that run definitely takes the lead. So Finland now 1 and 2 could be in line for the double. There are giant screens hanging from the ceiling so fans can see the runs again in slow-mo, and they're really loving that. And this is Magcal Bits and Pieces lining up for his run. And there's what he's got to beat, 64.08, and the pressure is really on the Dutchman. Oh, there's an explosion in his engine. You can see the bulge in the bodywork. And it would have been a good run because he was almost freewheeling for the last few meters, and that is not the start of the season that Willem Veldhuizen was hoping for. And he shakes his head in disappointment, but 57.07 gives him third place with 1 to run. Dista with Robert Sonen. So can the Normandy farmer take the honours back to France? The 55-year-old French champion is really giving it all he's got. And he's got enough to get past the 60-metre mark, and that has ensured him of at least third place. Yes, 60.46, so Finland does the double and takes first and second places. And it's nice to see Robert Sonen getting on the victory rostrum at last. But here's the man of the moment, the 37-year-old truck driver Pekka Hurlevy from Calvia. First with Caesar, and that's his mechanic who's taken the cup for Delta Power in second place. And here's the official result. Both Hurricane and Magcal Bits and Pieces were unable to compete in the evening 4.4 class, which produced an identical first, second and third. So a really good day for the Finns. And as the crowd are entertained by the lovely Titania from Holland, we'll take a break. But we'll be back with the 2,600 kilo two-wheelers, some mighty modifieds, and another 2-turbine monster from America.
Australia.
Welcome back to the 17th European Indoor Super Bowl at Ahoy. He's chalking the perimeter lines. Any chalk left? Just testing. The track's raked and rolled and is ready for the next class, the 2.6-ton two-wheel drives, led off by Sledgehammer. There's a 468 Chevy two-wheeling Jan Lewendijk down the track. Oh, and he's just 42 centimeters away from a full pull. 64.58 for Sledgehammer. Drivers in the competitors' balcony enjoyed that one. Now here's Jan's big rival Michel Coy with Miss Liberty, which was Europe's first two-wheel drive funny car. Michel slowly away, but he's making up for it now. Look at him go. And going all the way. That was a really great pull. And perhaps more to the point, it's put the pressure on those who have yet to pull. Right, let's see the run again in slow motion. Michel Coy screwing on the power from his Chrysler Hemi. Gets a lot of help from friends in America, and you can see it pays dividends when he turns in a run like this. Confirmation, a full pull in 10.15 seconds. Next on the starting line, Butterfly Morning, owned by two brothers, Dirk and Adam Hoekstra from Almelo. This is almost new, it's only its third ever run, so they're pretty nervous. And it's over. They wanted to do well in front of all these people, and they're satisfied with that. 53.61 for Butterfly Morning. And this stretch beetle is called Predator. Third hoop order opening up the Chevy 468. He's a car mechanic from Nizwala, and he's done a good job on this baby, but he comes up short of a full pull. So Miss Liberty still in the lead with just 3 more to pull. 63 meters exactly, and into third place. Rattle and Hum is the next to pull, run by a student team from 2 colleges. 24-year-old Rennie Monday is behind the wheel. And this is the second car he's built. And pretty solidly by the looks of it. 57.4 meters for Rattle and Hum. Now this is Heartbeat. And I asked the driver, Gerard Franke, what engine he had. He said, it's a 468 blown Chevy with a 1471 high helix, a little field blower and Dart 360 aluminium heads. That'll teach me for asking. But by the looks of it, it's doing the job. Probably running on adrenaline alone. Heartbeat high and handsome over the 65 meter mark to join Miss Liberty in a pull-off with just 1 to run. So full pull to Heartbeat in 11.04. He's thinking, sure beats riding a horse, and she's thinking, yep. Now tell me, isn't this the most souped-up delivery van you've ever seen? But it must deliver an express service, as Cloud9 was the 1994 Dutch champion. 34-year-old Bruin van Strien must feel he's on home ground as he comes from about 30 kilometers west of Rotterdam. I bet there's family and friends here to watch him today, and that's just as well, because it looks like he's going all the way. Yes, just over the 65 meter mark, so we have a 3-way pull-off. Miss Liberty, Heartbeat, and now Cloud9. You know, you never quite know what's going to happen next at these events. Annie de Rooij is a well-known character in Holland. This is her lookalike, chatting up Klaus the commentator. Well, she's getting a nice breeze up her, or is that his skirt? Goodbye, dear. Yes, goodbye. Right, now let's finish the business at hand. The 2-wheeler pull-off. Michel Koy is angry again, and he needs to be in a mean mood if he's going to win this one. But at 10.15 seconds, he had the fastest time. Heartbeat clocked in at 11.04, with Cloud9 at 11.5. Time for a quick pick. Miss Liberty, a definite alcoholic. She consumes 1 litre of pure alcohol per second. 1,400 horsepower, rising to the occasion and being brought to a halt a couple of meters short of the 60 meter mark. Is it enough to win? We'll soon find out. 58.41 for Miss Liberty. All the 2-wheelers today are from Holland. There are 1 or 2 in other European countries, but it's here that they race in a really competitive class. This is 32-year-old Gerard Franke, a tractor driver from Putten. Lane Van Strien and his mechanic watching the action as he waits his turn. Now, is Heartbeat just a heartbeat away from winning the Super Pull? Really screwing it on. Oh, and it looks longer to me. I think he's edged past Miss Liberty. Yes, 60.35, so Heartbeat takes the lead. And that is the target for last year's champion Cloud9. It's all or nothing. A win would be really great way to start the new season. You can't say he's not trying. Maybe trying too hard. There's smoke. Oh, and now flames under the bonnet. Quickly up with the chassis. And where's the fire extinguisher? Well, everyone seems calm enough. Our plane says, hey, would you mind doing something about that fire? And while I get round to it, I can tell you that Cloud9 was on 59.57 meters for second place. Heartbeat had pride of place on the victory rostrum with Miss Liberty third. Now let's see the official results. So just a couple of meters separating the top three. And if that continues, Gerard, Pluin and Michel have a really tough season ahead. Tough and competitive. In sixth place was Rattle and Hum, and seventh was Butterfly Morning. Afterwards, we visited Miss Liberty, and Michel Coy explained that his engine was unique.
It's the only Chrysler Hemi engine in the class, and actually it's the only cast iron Hemi in the whole world on tractor pulling, so we're very proud of that. And definitely it's not like buying a motor in the States and put it in a frame and make it run. It's this motor we have right now, we all have it now for half a year, and it takes us probably another half year to straighten it out. It's that much sophisticated. Here, what you see here is first it's crew chief Berend Wups. He's in charge of the whole team. You know, he tells everybody what to do, and he keeps an eye on the computer. He keeps an eye on the motor, basically the whole operation. Then we got Bob. He's doing the fuel system, and we got Jeroen working on the clutch department, driveline department, rear end tires, and so on. And consistency is a key word for this coming season. We want to keep it together, you know, and want to have as much fun as we can, of course, because there's a lot of fun involved, I can guarantee you that. But safety is the first thing.
Yep, I can guarantee you that they have fun in the Miss Liberty camp. Just look at this. These are the wives and girlfriends who all lend a hand and support. Perhaps the best way to describe them is the Miss Liberty Bells. Well, we leave that impromptu cabaret and return to the arena for the final class of the session, the mighty modifieds in the 5.4 ton class. There are 9 to pull, including the European champion. Extra weight is added to the sledge, and regular pulling fans know that these are a necessity to protect your hearing. Unless, of course, you fancy sitting with your fingers in your ears for 5 hours. Right, first of all, Whispering Angel, and that's 23-year-old Bas Liefding, sitting beside a Rolls-Royce Proteus engine. This used to power a Britannia aircraft, which was known as the Whispering Giant, hence Whispering Angel. First this way, then that, wandering all over the track, and only making 45 meters, 83 centimeters. And they were watching it on the big screen at the same time. As we move swiftly on to the next competitor, also from Holland, 27-year-old David Callis and Dumbo. 2 Rolls-Royce Mamba engines. It looks like they're doing the Mamba. Short and sweet, and then the right wheel locks up. He wasn't very impressed, was he? And it wasn't a very impressive distance, 13.74 meters, in fact a bit of a drag. Now from Great Britain, this is Kevin Whittingham and Snoopy. Kevin tells me it's for sale, 1 careful owner, and you need about £38,000 to take it home with you. 4th in the Euro Cup last year, powered by 2 Rolls-Royce Griffons. Let's see what they can do. And they do it in style. Full pull to Snoopy, and that's probably added a couple of thousand to the sales price. Åby in Sweden in September is the venue for the European Championships. And this is Chariot of Fire, second in last year's Europeans for this class. Trying to go one better today, but he suddenly loses power. As his wife Pam said, sounded all right, looked all right, but didn't do the biz. And Mike Lawrence looks mystified. 54.59 for Chariot of Fire. And as the smoke gets thicker in Ahoy, it's the turn of Terminator 4 from Belgium. 29-year-old Stef de Hoof sitting behind 3 Rolls-Royce Meteor engines. Oh, and he's getting preciously close to out of bounds, but he holds it in. The brake steering has cost him distance, and he has to settle for 49.62 meters. 7 Belgium championships, but out of the honours today. Would you call him a model fan? Certainly a beautiful piece of work, and so is the real thing. Green Spirit the 4th from Beervliet in Holland, close to the Belgian border. Driven by 27-year-old Peter Direct and powered by 2 Rolls-Royce Griffons. He had a lot of bad luck last season. Let's see what he can do now. Oh, he seemed to lose power at the end, just coasting the final few meters. He shakes his head in disappointment, but 56.09 takes him into second place behind Snoopy with 3 to run. From Green Spirit to Good Spirits to the European champion, Green Fighter. Heinz-Josef Horstkamp won the European title, and he's in the audience today, but the seat on Green Fighter is taken by 22-year-old Enrico Volaton. 4 Allison V12s and 10,000 horsepower, and that sees Green Fighter over the 65-meter line for a full pull. And we have a pull-off. It's certainly hot work being a mechanic for one of these machines. So Germany and Great Britain will go head-to-head. Officials checking that there's 2 more to pull. And here's the first, Super Casper from near Hilversum in Holland. Jan Gronestein, a carpenter by trade, is piloting this Rolls-Royce Merlin engine that came out of a Spitfire. Oh, and it looks like it wants to fly. More interested in going up than along. And Super Casper lands on 42.7 meters. Right, the last to pull is one of the most experienced, Q8 Team Popeye from Holland. 3 Allison V12s, the one on the right is new. They broke a transmission shaft in Zwolle a couple of weeks ago, but it's been repaired, and Jan van Alphen is ready and raring to go. Third in the European Championships, but running out of steam well short of a full pull. The question is, has Jan done enough to edge past Green Spirit and into third place? He'll be very disappointed not to have made the pull-off. Yes, 57.54, third place is his, as Snoopy comes in for the decider against Green Fighter. He was runner-up last year in both the 4.4 and 5.4 ton classes in Great Britain. Can he go to the top of the pile today? Plenty of pace and power. Oh, it's a long one. He raises his arm in triumph. He thinks he's done enough. 59.99 meters for Snoopy. Green Fighter has not yet come into the arena, so he could be having problems. That's Enrico Volaton shaking his head. He's not going to run, so Snoopy takes first place on the rostrum. Green Fighter is second, and Q8 Team Popeye third. And as they take the applause from the crowd, let's check up on the official result. Surprisingly, only 2 making the pull-off. 59.99 was enough to win it for Snoopy, with Green Spirit and Chariot of Fire taking the minor places. Outside of the top 5, Terminator was 6th, Whispering Angel 7th, Super Casper 8th, and Dombo 9th. Right, now it's time to meet the former world land speed record holder, Art Alphonse, who explains how he got involved in motorsport.
Well, it started about 45 years ago. I got started in drag racing, and I was drag racing from 52 to 72, and in between there I was land speed racing, and I started tractor pulling in 72, and I've been doing it ever since.
What made you take up tractor pulling?
Well, my dragsters are going pretty fast, and I was crashing a lot of times off the end of the tracks, so I thought I'd better get into something else.
And here's Art's current toy, the Green Monster, all fired up and ready to roll. Wow, what a way to finish the first session. Full pull to the Green Monster and Art Alphonse. And as the fans leave the arena, we'll take a break. We'll be back with minis, modifieds, and 2 more runs from the Monsters from America. And welcome back to the Ahoy Stadium in Rotterdam. The band warming up the capacity crowd who are in their places and ready for the evening session. The snack bars doing a roaring trade. Fast food for 15,000 hungry pulling fans. And it's not just food, there's plenty of drink as well consumed at this event. The first class of the evening, the mini pullers. This is Mini Breaker, who's come all the way from Norway. And these two look as though they've come all the way from the nearest bar. Well, it all adds to the entertainment. Right, on with the action. Carl Sofasengen and Mini Breaker. He's rebuilt his Keith Black engine, and it's looking good to me. Well over the 65 metre mark, so we start with a full pull, and the pressure is now on the rest. It's all the way or out of the running. This is Dirk Veenstra, who's been pulling for 4 years. His turbine comes from a Super Freelon transport helicopter, which is widely used in China, South Africa and France, amongst other places. He's 37 years old, from Diersum in Holland. And Landy is ready for takeoff. But Landy lands just over the 50 metre mark. 52.51 for Dirk Veenstra. This would make a perfect portable barbecue, wouldn't it? It's a Rover Meteor V12 in the hands of René de Bruin. It's called Gompy, after a walrus with long teeth. Well, I hope it moves quicker than a walrus, though. The driver's and mechanics balcony is full again, as Gompy goes on its way. But slowly away, and it's paid the price. 38.82 metres for René from Marsland. And this is Stubborn Sister with Frank Webel behind the wheel. He told me he saw an American machine called Stubborn Mule, and that gave him the idea for the name of his machine. Born to be wild. Let's see if this sister's going to run on the wild side. Oh yes, Stubborn Sister joins Mini Breaker in the pull-off. A great run from the 20-year-old from Cham. Full pull in 9.7 seconds. And here's the bandit, Dirk van Dasselaar, the 1988 European champion, opening up his Keith Black 511 engine. And the bandit is held up just over the 60 metre mark. Good run, but not good enough to get into the pull-off. All the sledges have a name. This one is called No Mercy. Bandit can vouch for that. The weight in place, 62.64. Third place with 7 more to run. Gasson's Problem Child is next away, powered by a Rolls-Royce Gnome 1200, which is used in the Westland Wessex helicopters. Henri van Alten, going a little off course, which he corrects with his foot brake, but that slows him and he's short of 55 metres. He told me it cost him a lot of time and 40,000 Dutch guilders to build this Mini, which goes into 4th place with that run. And that's what the drivers would see coming to get them on the sledge if they look round. But 17-year-old Gert Dingerik is only looking forward on Lambada the 4th. It's only his 2nd ever run. Let's hope it's a good one. Oh, he's off course. Another blast from his Chevy. But there's fluid coming out of the motor, and a lot of smoke, and now flames. So quite an eventful run for the schoolboy from Zwolle. It doesn't want to go out, does it? 51.17 for Lambada the 4th, and they had a close-up view of it all. So as Gert and Lambada is towed out at one end, 23-year-old Mark Kirsters is ready at the other with Twisted Sister, which is named after the pop group. But down on power. And he grinds to a halt at 30.9 metres. His shoes were black when he started today, as the Vampire begins its first ever run. Powered by a 14-cylinder Alvistar motor, but not a lot of bite. 42.49 metres for Kees Vreeman, who understandably was very nervous before the run. But in fact, Vampire was a little overweight. Bouten Mededinging means out of the competition. Betawi Express is very much in the competition, driven by 33-year-old Jan Termeer. It's a Ford 460 engine. Oh, and he's inching ever closer to the sideline. 4 or 5 centimeters from going out of bounds. And there's his distance, 41.76 for Beta We Express. Still only 2 full pulls with 2 to run. This is Lambada III, Wim Dingerink, Gert's father, looking to better his son's distance of 51.17. He opens up his Keith Black motor. Now, is this going to be our 3rd full pull? No, Lambada III just short of the 65-meter line. But he could have edged past Bandit 62.64 in 3rd place. 40 centimeters short, 4th to Lambada with 1 to run. And that one, the 1993 European champion with Helmut Schwartz sitting behind a Rover Meteor tank engine. And Helmut knows the way to do it. Ghostbuster roars into the pull-off with the fastest of the full pulls, 8.51 seconds his time. Carl Sofersengen is the first to run in mini breaker from Norway, unable to run in the European Championship pull-off because his engine broke. Can he get revenge today? That's Aslau, his young lady, about to record it for posterity. Now, is he going to blow away the opposition? He's looking very determined to me, almost flying down the track. And this will be a hard act to follow. Carl, who works in a sawmill east of Oslo, he thinks he's done it. Aslo is not sure. 61.94 for mini breaker from Norway. Willem Tamming giving the go to Frank Verboven and Stubborn Sister. But with the weight on the sledge increase, this run will be much harder. A little off course as well. And Stubborn Sister unable to get near the Norwegian. 53.95 for the Dutchman. Now, last to go is Helmut Schwartz from Oberhammersbach near Strasbourg with Ghostbuster. 2nd in the Europeans last year, he's going for gold today. But it's not long enough to challenge the Norwegian. Ghostbuster is busted well short of the target and he'll have to settle for 2nd again. 55.76 for Helmut Schwartz. So Carl Sofersengen takes pride of place on the victory rostrum. Not sure when to shake hands, but he shook the opposition with 2 fine runs and he couldn't have wished for a better way of starting the new season. As you can see, Bandit was 4th and Lambada III was 5th. Further down the finishing order, Garson's Problem Child was 6th, Lundy was 7th, Lambada the 4th, 8th, with just a couple of meters between them. Another run from one of the guests from America, Dusty Alphonse. There aren't many women pullers in the States, but she's one of the best. Strangely enough, in a land that has just about everything, they don't have a women's competition. I think his flag must be made of asbestos. Right, the fire show is over. It's time for Dusty to fire away. Can she do it again? A great run this morning. Her wheels light up, and she is just cruising out there, making it look so easy. This is the first time she's pulled outside of the States, if you exclude Canada, and she told me it's pretty scary. Back in Ohio, they have a camper van with everything you could possibly need in the way of spare parts. Over here, they have nothing, and they spent a couple of hours trying to track down a simple nut they needed. Still, she's enjoyed herself, and the crowd have loved her runs, and that's what counts. Museum's cat being towed into the arena for the final class of the day, the 4.4-ton modifieds. The arena has been raked and rolled to perfection. In an hour or so, it'll be dug up and stored to next year. Right, let's start the action. Rickard Holt, 2nd in the 3.4s earlier today. Can he go one better? The sledge pretty weighted down, and it brings him to a halt round about the 55-meter mark. So that has set the standard the others have to beat. 55.38 for Museum's Cat. This is Green Fighter, also from Germany, and Enrico Volaton from near Munster must have solved the problem that stopped him taking part in the pull-off for the 5.4s. He's removed the middle one of his Allison V12s for this lighter class, and this is a powerful pull from the German. Well past Museum's Cat's marker, but short of 65 meters. So he takes the lead. 60 points. Already a winner today. He must love this track. Oh, and Kevin has done it again. Another full pull to the young man from near Blackpool in the north of England. And his time, 10.17 seconds. Here's another young man, this time from Denmark. Peter Larsen with Fox. He's the 4.4 Euro Cup holder, but prefers the 3.4 class. His Chevy's belting out the power, but not enough. They seem to have had some problems this weekend. More at home outdoors. 55.88, so Fox edges past Museum's Cat into third place. This is the big Dutch hope, Jan van Alphen with Q8 Team Popeye. Wherever he goes, he takes his fans with him, and he needs their backing. This is going to be a toughie. His Allison's taken from P38 Lightnings. Can they strike for him now? No, apparently not. Yet another just struggling over the 55 meter mark. 4 more to run, and it's looking good for Snoopy. Many of these machines will be taking part in the Euro Cup this year. There are 5 rounds, 1 each in France, Germany and Denmark, with the other 2 in Holland. Beverell Eager Beaver will probably be one of them. Kees van der Poel, very experienced in this game. He's been pulling now for 15 years. He's coupled up and ready to pull. The sledge in this class really sorting the men from the boys. And the Eager Beaver finding it too hot to handle. 48.66 for Kees van der Poel. Right, now here's the one he's been waiting for. Oh, and them by the look of it. Peter Direct and Green Spirit the fourth. Oh, he's going offline, and that will cost him. He's lost momentum and his chance of reaching the pull-off, if there is one. 53.44 for Green Spirit. Snoopy, still the only one to go clear, but he could shortly have company. Next to pull, the European 4.4 champion, Brian Armstead and Desperate Dan. Brian, the complete professional, he knows what he's got to do. And look at this, he's rising to the occasion. It is our second full pull, and his time 9.11, quickest of the day. So Snoopy's got a fight on his hands. Right, this is the last to pull, another Brit, Chariot of Fire. Oh dear, that looked expensive. Smoke from the engine. There's oil pouring from his gearbox. Mike was telling me he's just fitted 5 new gears from Canada. He hasn't paid for them yet. If I was him, I'd send them back saying faulty on arrival. 5 new gears, he's telling the official. So Chariot of Fire has not had the kind of weekend he was hoping for. Desperate Dan mechanic Carl Carter and Brian Armstead watching from the sidelines, waiting for their turn in the pull-off. So Mike Lawrence and the Chariot is towed out of the arena, and clean-up operations can begin. All the oil from the gearbox has to be removed before Snoopy can start his run. There's real friendly rivalry between Brian and Kevin. They live close to each other, and they travel together to European meetings, and I bet there are a few beers wagered on this one. Well, everything seems to be in order. Let's see if Snoopy can put one over on Desperate Dan. Easing forward on the throttle lever and opening up his 2 Mark 58 Aero Griffins. I don't think I've ever seen him in better form, but the extra weight on the sledge taking its toll, and he comes to a halt just over the 50 meter mark. He sells tractors for a living. Maybe he'll be able to sell his own after this performance. Now the distance, 52.77 meters. These are the eyes of a desperate man. Desperate Dan, alias Brian Armistead. Can he do the double and add the 4.4 to the 3.4 he won earlier? His 5 Chevys giving maximum effect. Oh, he clinches his fist and says yes! He's sure it's in the bag. And indeed it is. 56.99. He wins by over 4 meters. And that's Kevin getting a celebration ride from flagman Mick Hollins in front of the British fans. So 1 and 2 to Great Britain, with Green Fighter taking 3rd place for Germany. Here's the official result. Fox taking 4th place with Q8 Team Popeye 5th. Outside of the top 5, Museum's Cat from Germany was 6th, with Green Spirit the 4th from Holland 7th. So, we're nearly at the end of this traditional indoor season opener from Ahoy in Rotterdam. But first, a final run from former world land speed record holder Art Alphonse. His daughter Dusty backing him into position. They've had trouble getting started, but 69-year-old Art taking it all in his stride. Believe it or not, he's going to try for the land speed record again later this year. Right, the Green Monster is all fired up. Let's take a final look at this living legend. Oh yes, and he was almost out into the car park. It was the longest run of the day. The crowd really loving the visit from these Americans. Well, as they make their way home, just a note of the first 3 Eurocup meetings: Bernay west of Paris and Walibi Flevo northeast of Amsterdam in June, with Sottrum close to Bremen in July. And you can see them exclusively on Eurosport. Well, that's it from the European Super Bowl from Ahoy in Rotterdam. Hope you've enjoyed the action. There'll be more tractor pulling coming your way soon. Until then, this is Roger England saying bye for now.